Good afternoon, everyone. It's about 5 o'clock here on Tuesday the 9th of November, and markets in the US off a little bit. As you can see, the Dow off 250 points, the S&P off 27 points, and VectorVest advocates caution when buying stocks at this time. Until last Friday, the S&P, for example, was up 16 out of 18 sessions, which is somewhat of a record. So a little bit of a pullback is more than needed, and it could easily mount to 3 to 5% of a pullback before we get going again. So if we have a look at the VectorVest composite, all the measures of the trend are still up. We have a look at the VectorVest composite itself. We can see that it's hardly anything to worry about so far. Yesterday's candle on the VectorVest composite was a doji, and today we've got this red down day. Certainly if we finish like that today and a break below today's low tomorrow, we could see a little bit of a pullback. The most natural thing in the world would be for the market to come back and test these old highs somewhere down around here. So I'm still very, very positive into the end of the year, but I wouldn't be at all surprised to see a pullback on the S&P. That could be a pullback of 4 or 5% at the very most. Last Friday, I sold all my positions. If we look at the stock viewer on VectorVest, the stock viewer, I had positions in, where are we now? NVIDIA. I had a position in AMD, and I had a position in Builders. I had a position in Microsoft, which is not on the front, and I got out of those last Friday afternoon, Friday lunchtime American time, Friday afternoon here about 6:30 late afternoon. NVIDIA is pretty much, it's a little bit higher than where I got out. AMD soared up yesterday after I got out, and Builders is exactly where I got out because my stomach told me we're going to see a little bit of a pullback. Microsoft as well is pretty much where I got out at. So I'm reasonably happy with that. That was a very, very profitable exercise. I've got one position in the American market at the moment, and I took that position a bit earlier. That is in the GDX, because the gold market seems to want to fire. This is the GDX, folks. It's a weekly chart over 2.5 years. It is a setup that I like the look of. It's a low risk. When I say low risk, a few points to make a lot of points if it works. As you can see, we've got resistance here. And that resistance was tested once, tested again, but I like this thrust, this pullback. Couldn't make a new high, goes right down and then turns, and that I know everybody tells me that I'm a one setup wonder, but that's another outstanding example of what Mr. Wyckoff wrote about way back in 1908, and nothing much has changed. So a reasonably high probability trade with relatively low risk. The VectorVest stop loss is at 30.50, and my stop loss is a little bit tighter than that under these lows. So let's have a look at the daily chart now. If I blow this up to, let's see, start with 6 months. As you can see, we're doing our best to make a rising bottom here. There is the that resistance that became support line, and I should have been in earlier. We blow it up to 3 months now. That outside day at the level was just a real sitter. I didn't get in there. I was too busy stressing about those other positions. I watched this come down, and this reversal, see, it closed in the bottom 80% of the range, should I say the bottom 20%, I suppose, of the range, and then it reversed. That's a very, very strong reversal signal. So managed to get in today right on the low. I sat and watched it after it opened. I got in just around there, and we shall see what happens. Stop loss for me, is down or underneath this low at slightly under 31, 30.75 or something. So we'll see how it goes. Gold price starting to move up quite nicely today, but it is an outstanding example of a Wyckoff spring, a huge thrust, and then a three-wave pullback. And that setup has been very, very kind to me over the last, 30 years. And there was time I swore I would never tell anybody about it at all, but that doesn't matter so much anymore. So I'm reasonably happy with that. I have no idea what's going to happen next, but I can test my trading idea for a very low number of points in relation to the target if it works. So that's my one position in the US, the GDX. In the UK, I have two gold mining stocks, Polymetal and Pan African Resources, that if this starts to move, I have left cash in my UK account that I can add to those positions. As you know, I've been suffering in those positions for many weeks and months, in fact. They paid exceptionally good dividends along the way, but it hasn't been the easiest of time in gold stocks. So in the UK, well, where am I now? There we are. In the UK, as you can see, VectorVest advocates buying safe undervalued stocks that are rising in price. As I keep telling the VectorVest UK people, my experience is that as soon as the American market turns down, we turn down about a nanosecond later, and that's exactly what's happened this afternoon. And the FTSE down 20 or 30 points, and pretty much everything is down with it. A few stocks have outperformed it in the FTSE, but the general market down. And I haven't done anything in the market. I'm about 80% invested in these stocks. So most of them had a pretty good day today, a good day yesterday, should I say. I'm sure they're all going to be down. And Polymetal started to move up quite nicely indeed. Pan African Resources starting to move up very nicely indeed. Many people will be happy to see that Sylvania is off the lows. That's a platinum stock. And as I say, if the move in gold pans out, and let's face it, it's let us down an awful lot of times when it looked as if it was going to break out, then I shall be adding to those two gold stocks that I've got. Technically, to me, the silver chart looks stronger than the gold chart. So I would expect the silver chart to move percentage-wise better. I haven't got any silver stocks in the portfolio. So I hope you found that useful, folks. I would not be at all surprised to see a fairly decent pullback before this market starts to move again, and that could take us back. We're down 22 points in the S&P 500. Could easily take us down 150 points. That would bring us back down to 4500, something like that. I shall not, that's my gut feel, I shall not be trading my gut feel. I'll be trading what the signals tell me here, and at the moment it's saying that I should be cautious, and that's darn good advice. Let's hope that that caution in the stock market gives gold a kick where it's needed. So I'll keep you appraised of this during the course of the week. Good trading.